Johan, let's talk about the games this coming weekend. We have 4 games, exciting games, all of them, because there's still much to play for. The first game is Rebels against the Diggers.
Okay.
In the past years, the Rebels have had troubles with the Diggers and lost, had survived big losses. So,
Sure.
Is this going to be different this year?
Potential is there for us. We have a lot of great talent. We have Fear and Petrip, and we've got a running game with Tor and T, and Morton is on the national team. So we've got the weapons to do it. But so do they. They've got Soren and Baku and Jonas Bo on offense, and Zach takes a pretty good job with them. And they're going to get their points. The question is, are we going to be able to match their points? And on paper, without question, we'll be able to match it. It's just executing on the field. Defenses are probably going to be in for a long day on both sides. I don't see it being a 14-10 game or a 17-14 game. I see it either being a little bit lopsided, where one team scores a lot and the other one scores some, or it's going to be a high-scoring game like in the 40s for both teams, or high 30s or something like that. Maybe going down to the wire, which could be a really fun game to watch.
Yeah.
If you're looking for points, maybe that's the game you want to watch this weekend.
Yeah. If you just want to see offense, this might be the place to be.
It might be the place to be. Yeah. It could be very interesting.
Yeah. So. Another interesting game in the top of the league is Razorbacks against the Towers. Now they start their tough schedule, the Razorbacks, with the toughest opponent arguably in the league.
Yeah, they unfortunately for the Razorbacks, they play their 3 toughest games of the second half of the season, or 3 games in 7 days. So they play obviously the Towers this weekend, us, and the Tigers, and not in that order, but just those 3 teams.
Yeah.
All those teams are vying for playoff positioning and potentially for a conference title. So those are games that those teams are all going to play their hearts out for to win and do well. The Razorbacks are going to go as well as Jeffrey Lewis goes. They've got weapons at the receiver position, but they're not as strong as they used to be before, with Molina being gone. And last year, when the Towers played the Razorbacks, they beat them. Yeah. So with I'd say a reduced passing attack, that could pose a real problem for the Razorbacks. And there's been times that they haven't looked as Razorback, as they have in the past. So it just depends on which team shows up for them.
Yeah.
And then you get the Towers; they're strong.
Yeah.
In all facets.
Yeah. Do you see the Towers just filling the box just to stop Jeffrey Lewis and letting the Razorbacks pass a little bit?
I think it depends on how well they feel their corners and their safeties can handle, or safety if they play man coverage. If they feel that they can cover them man to man and outmatch them, I think they'll load the box and challenge them to throw the ball. I think that their D-line and their linebackers are good enough to get pressure and stop the run game, and also attack on the pass. They're a good team, very athletic defensively. So I would imagine they're going to be flying to the ball and getting after the Razorbacks in a pretty solid way.
Yeah, and the Razorbacks have in past games they like to do different funny stuff. They like to put a lot of play action, a lot of trick plays. Sure. Is that the way that they're going to beat the Towers?
Well, I don't know if that's the way they're going to beat the Towers, but I know that's the way they're going to get some extra points probably. They're good for a couple of trick plays here and there because they want to throw you off, and they try to do that early. So I wouldn't be surprised if they want to put the Towers on their heel. They'll try to go up top and get some kind of quick score, and maybe, like you said, in a trick play or throw the deep ball to Linneman or something of that nature. It wouldn't surprise me if they try to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how that's what they do. They want to get on top, and then they kind of want to slow the game down to where they have control. And let you catch everything underneath and stop you for a few yards and make you grind out the clock yourself. So that's kind of what they're.
Yeah. And who do you see winning that game?
I got to say, the most complete team right now has been the Towers, so I'm going to go with the Towers.
The next game we have is the Tigers against the Demons, at the Demons. The Demons probably have to win this game if they want to be in the playoff. Yeah. Do you see that happening?
I see the triple option being a factor for the Tigers to have to deal with. That's probably the biggest thing. The Demons have some good athletes. They're a tough physical team. On that being said, the question is, they played early in the year. They got handed a tough loss against the Tigers. And that's where you kind of have to take a look at different things. they didn't really have an answer for Marco. Marco's a good running back for them. And they didn't really have an answer for John Matthews. And Matthews is a good receiver for them, and he can do all sorts of things. I mean, I think he even played quarterback a little bit for them in a game and threw the ball. So he's they don't really have a lot of answers in stopping that. And if they don't stop that dual weapon, they could lose that game. If they lose that game, they have to play the Razorbacks. So, yeah, this is a playoff game for them, and they got to treat it as a playoff game and sell out.
The last game is 89ers at the Stallions, a relegation fight. If the Stallions win, and they have been a tough team before, if they win, all of a sudden both teams have one win.
Yeah, and then you have to add the Swans to that mix. Everybody's got one win, so every game they play after that is a playoff game because you're looking at 2 games left or 1 game left for each one of them, depending on what it is, and that's tough. So yeah, it should be pretty interesting. Those guys have something to play for, and all those teams play against each other in some form or another in the next couple of weeks. So that's going to really decide something. Yeah.
Do you think the Stallions can win this game, or
I think
the 89ers just a little bit better?
Well, I think athletically, from what I've seen and my experience with the 89ers, they have better athletes. And their experience on the NL, I think that could help them. The Steins are a bigger team, and they have that German import that's really good for them, and he makes a lot of plays. So I could see the advantage going to the 89ers, but if it becomes a close game, the Steins might pull it out because they're just bigger, so you have to physically wear them down. So yeah, I think the 89ers need to get on top fast. Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, 4 exciting games this week, and still a lot to play for in these last games of the season. Yeah,
we'll see what happens, and it should be interesting next week when we recap everything.
Yeah. So, well, thank you for this week. Thank you for the talk.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That was it for this week. We'll see you next week.